Hello and welcome back to Mr. Holloway's classroom. I've really got to find a better intro. Any suggestions? Put it down there in the comment section. Where's my camera? There's my camera. Put it down there in the comment section. I'm interested to know. Make sure they are classroom appropriate because I won't do anything inappropriate and that's how you get banned. So use your good taste. Okay? Now, previous two lessons, we've been talking about decimals, and guess what? We are going to continue talking about decimals. Today, we are going to be talking specifically about dividing decimals. And I made all three of these videos at the same time, so I don't know if you like the black background or not yet. I haven't read those comments, but send a comment down there. Let me know if the black background's better than the white background. I like it. I think it's cool. Okay, so before we start talking about dividing decimals, we need to talk about powers of 10 and how we can use 10 for good. Remember, with great power comes great responsibility, and so do tens. Okay, tens give us a lot of power. So let's consider a number. Let's consider the number 3. 3 is a beautiful number. It has no decimal points. It just is 3. But 3 is also a fraction because I can rewrite 3 as 3 divided by 1. Okay, and let's double check this. If I wanted to write 3 divided by 1, I can draw my little ice cream cone down here. And then I'm going to put my cotton candy ice cream or bubblegum flavor ice cream on top. And then I'm going to draw my gazintu. And for those of you who don't know, the appropriate name for this symbol is the gazintu. And it's spelled goes into. Okay, gazintu. Because we want to know how many times 1, which is on the pantry of the refrigerator, goes into 3, which is inside the freezer. And if you don't know the ice cream trick, I think I've got a video on long division that describes the ice cream trick. Regardless, I digress. So we want to know how many times 1 goes into 3. And of course, we know that there are 3 groups of 3 within that. So 3 over 1 is 3. Same thing. Now that we have that, I want to rewrite my 3 over 1 down here. And I want to ask you a question. What happens if I multiply by 10 over 10? Because what's 10 over 10? It's 1. I can put 10 tens into one, or 1 10 into another 10. It's 1. What's 100 over 100? It's 1. So I am actually multiplying 3 over 1 by 1, but making it look different. So this would equal 30 over 10, which simplifies to 3. All right, now this is important because we're going to be moving decimal points. That means we are going to be multiplying by 10 and dividing by 10. What I need you to understand is that as long as I do it in the numerator and the denominator by the same power, I'm really just multiplying and dividing by 1. Okay? So let's get rid of some of this and give ourselves some room. Our first example that we should look at is going to be, I don't want to do that one. I want to do this one. 12 divided by 1.6. So 12 divided by 1 6/10. Now I've got to remember that this is going into, I can rewrite it as a fraction because I read my fractions down. 12 divided by 1.6, and that's a very bad 6. Which helps me realize that the 1.6 is going to go on the outside. It goes into 12. All right. Now, I really wrote it in a fraction form because I wanted you to see something. I am going to get rid of this 0.6. I don't want that 0.6 there. Okay, so how do I do that? Well, I know that multiplying by 10 is going to move that decimal to the right, so let's do that. We're going to multiply by 10 over 10. I don't know why I have an equal sign there. That's a decimal. That's multiplying. And we know multiplying fractions, if we haven't got there yet, take the leap of faith. Trust me. We multiply the numerators, so 12 times 10 is 120. And we multiply the denominators. 1.6, 1 and 6 tenths times 10 is 16. These are the same numbers. So I can look down here at my goes into symbol, and I can see that this 1.6, I can multiply it by 10, so long as I move or multiply this 12 by 10 as well. Now that leaves an empty spot. And because there's an empty spot, I have to add a 0. I'm going to change the color of my goes into symbol because the white's kind of overcrowding everything and it's just difficult to look at. So now this is a multiplication problem I can work with. And if this is too wordy, let me just go on ahead and rewrite it over here so it looks a little bit cleaner. We've got 16 goes into 120. And that way you can see it kind of without the decimal points messing everything out. And look, that is the exact same representation of that fraction up there. And now it's just a case of simple long division. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring it on down, and bring it on back. So 16 goes into 1. It don't. 0 times. 16 goes into 12. It don't. 0 times. 16 goes into 120. 16 times 10 is 160. And I'm going to put the 10 there. And I need to be about 40 away from that. So let's try 16 times 8. 8 times 6. Well, I know 8 times 3 is 24. So if I double that, 8 times 6 is 48. Put my 4 up there. 8 times 1 is 8. Add my 4, and I have 128. Oh, I was close. So it needs to be 7. 16 times 7. 6 times 6 is 36. If I add 6, that's 42. Carry my 4. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 112. So 7 times 16 equals 112. And now I'm going to subtract. I'm going to change colors for you. Oops. That's not 0. I have to steal a 10s from here, put my 10 here. 10 minus 2 is 8, and 0, 0, 0. Okay. Y'all know what we do, right? I'm going to pretend like I'm lost for a little bit. Think about it. Okay, remember, there's a decimal point here and an infinite number of zeros. So we bring it on down. 80. How many times does 16 go into 80? Well, I know it's going to be less than 8. Well, I know it's less than 8 because 8's 128. I know it's less than 7 because that's 112. And it looks like it's almost 2 less. So I'm going to say it's 5. And I'm going to guess 5 with a lot of confidence. And I'm just going to write it here. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry my 3. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 80, or 8, which makes 80. 80 minus 80 is 0. Now, one thing you always have to remember when you're doing division, when you put the decimal point below, the decimal point goes above. So now I can come back and I can look at this. I'm running out of room. 12 divided by 1.6 is 7.5. And make some room here. 12 divided by 1.6 equals 7.5. And that's how you do long division with decimals. You have to get the decimals out of your divisor, and you do that by multiplying by the power of 1, but you make 1 look like tens. It's pretty simple once you get around it. Okay, so remember, what you do to the top, you got to do to the bottom. That way it stays 1. And if you got any other questions, concerns, let me know. Give me an email. Hit me on Remind. Don't forget, like, subscribe, click the little notification bell, all that jazz. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. See you in class tomorrow.